And a good Wednesday afternoon to everyone. Let me transition here. Hope you are doing well. Sorry for the lateness, but we are live. Technology is great when it works, a pain in the rear end when it doesn't. But let me just take you to the dual box here. Hope everybody's doing well. It has been quite a week in terms of weather patterns since we last talked. So a lot to discuss. Let's get straight to it. We'll talk about satellite here in a moment and put that there just for future reference. But let's talk about BWI here for a second. And for that, we'll go to the data calendar here. So give me a second just to do that. All right. And so far, it's been meh in terms of just any rainfall, but we've had some really good temperatures. I mean, we were around freezing Saturday morning, got up to 71. We were around 40 degrees to start off the day on Sunday, got up to 74. Ain't that something? Then we had a little bit of a warm-up for yesterday. We got up to 73, starting out at 48. And then the cold front passed through last night into this morning. Our temperature started to dip a little bit. 63 has been the high so far according to this, but I'm going to check the observation history as well. Just out of curiosity, it was 63. That was at 150. That was 154. The 2 o'clock update. I can imagine in the next hour, 90 minutes, the Weather Service will drop the climatology for today at BWI, Hagerstown, Dulles, Reagan, the major observation sites in the forecast area for KLWX, which is most of Central Maryland, Western Maryland, Northern Virginia, the Panhandle, West Virginia, those areas there. So it'd be quite interesting to see that, and I'll also probably check Mount Holly as well because not Mount Holly, forgive me, Wakefield, because Wakefield has control of the Delmarva, so that would be Salisbury OC if they do have those sites as like official observation sites that they prioritize in terms of the climatology reports there. So I forgot, I gotta take you full here, so give me a second. There we go, and I'll just zoom you in a little bit so you can see this better, but nonetheless, it is very much a much cooler day compared to where we were about 24 hours ago. I mean, you can notice it. I mean, yes, it's not like super low. It's not like super crazy, only a 10-degree difference, but still, it's a 10-degree difference nonetheless. Pardon me. Talk about AFD in a second, and I do a lot of analysis with the AFD, and that kind of leads me to where I want to observe and look at. Pardon me again, sorry. But first things first, let's talk about the surface map, and let me make sure I got the most current observation. Yes, I do. So the front that passed through yesterday, and I can probably draw on here. So let me just bring you in tight, and then we'll use our drawing tool. The front that went through yesterday is gone. It's moved away for now. That cold front, done deal. However, we do have a warm front on the back end that will be moving northeast and put us into the warm sector and bring a good chunk of warm air up into our area for the latter half of the work week. And then it's not going to last all that long because behind all of that, we have a cold front that will be making its way. And I'm going to draw this in the exact blue, so give me a second just to get the eyedropper. There you go. We're just going to do this. All right. Technology. But we have this cold front surging east, and that will impact our weather heading into the latter portions of the work week, more specifically Friday, and then even into Saturday may linger around east of the Chesapeake Bay, but even then the timing on that, it could be done deal for a lot of us by that time frame. So let me just do this. Also, we're on some cold air pushing in behind this. Fairly cold, but not like super, super cold. But it will be noticeable there. And you can see the shower activity that is taking place across the Great Lakes region, the western Great Lakes region, Chicagoland, up towards the coastal areas of Wisconsin along Lake Michigan, Milwaukee, up to Green Bay, up into the UP of Michigan, into Ontario, and even trying to get out of Minnesota on the back end of this still. And then there's mixing over towards the UP, the far upper UP of Michigan, and surging up towards Canada. Also some lake effect activity taking place according to this surface map across Lake. Let's see, this is Lake Ontario. This is Ontario. And this is Lake Ontario in upstate New York. So Buffalo, Rochester areas. A little interesting going on there. Let me go back on this. And we're going to exit out of this. Okay. Let's do this real quick. And I want to bring up our actual radar just to discuss the happenings right now. Well, let's do this. There we go. We'll load this up. We'll see the activity that's going on. There is our mixing towards, I believe this would be, Lake Ontario, Buffalo, down towards the Rochester area, and it's really confined to those coastal areas along the lake, and then heading back out towards Ontario, Toronto, up into the UP of Michigan, and there's the system itself as it's surging eastward. And I'll put this into motion for you, and I'm actually going to take down the frames here. Do a solid 100. Solid 100, and we'll loop this. And you'll see here that system starting to move east. And during the day tomorrow, we're going to have this warm front surge. And that will bring our temperatures up once again, heading into Friday before we have the cold front start to move in. Another cold front, I should say, start to move in as we head towards the latter half of Friday and into Saturday as well. And it will be somewhat cooler for the weekend, back down to around average, if not below average in some locations, but it won't be a super big drop off in terms of the aftermath once this all passes by. Let's also look at the satellite activity. You can clearly see the system right here causing all the rain and the wintry conditions, freezing rain, sleet out in the Great Lakes region. And then you can see the clearing with the warm sector down in the southeast this afternoon. Pretty nice conditions over in that area of the lower 48. And then we have our cold front starting to shift eastward out of the Central Plains and into the Ohio River Valley and the Mississippi River Valley as well. Let me just show you the forecast while I'm at it as well. This is a 6-hour forecast. It has it moving eastward. There's our warm front starting to move towards us. And then this is 12 hours from now. So later tonight, early tomorrow morning, there's our warm front. Cold front starting to surge in. And there could be chances for thunderstorms down in the Arklatex heading into southeastern Oklahoma as well, with the convective energy that could be available there. And also this area down in southeast Oklahoma along the Red River into North Texas as well. And potentially some thunderstorm activity up in the northeast, the Great Lakes region. That would be a little bizarre considering that winter conditions could be taking place, but that's a possibility according to this forecast here. And heading into tomorrow, there's our warm front heading through, and there's our cold front starting to move in from the west. And that was different for the timing earlier in the week. It was thinking more of a Friday type scenario, but this could be a Thursday. Warm front, cold front passes by, and then we get the shower activity. So that could be a tomorrow into Friday type of deal. But right now, it's leaning towards that Thursday time frame, at least for the time being. Let me also check a number of things here. So forgive me. I'm doing a lot of stuff here. We're not going to look. We're going to talk about the anomaly here in a second. But first things first, let's talk about the latest run times with the precipitation. Let's do GFS. Let's do radar rain frozen. And we're going to zoom in to the northeast. And then let's run this, and you can see the high pressure stays in place. Actually, we're going to go back. I think this is, yeah, this was a little bit further back. But here's right about now. We have our shower activity. Potential convective activity may lead to a rumble thunder up in the Great Lakes region, but mostly I think it's just going to be cold enough where we don't really have to super worry about it up in those areas if you have loved ones up there. But still, that's something to be noted. Also up in the higher elevations of upstate New York, Vermont into New Hampshire and Maine, the northern portions of New England could get some snow out of this as well. Not too much since the system's going to be moving fairly quickly, but still, again, to be noted. And then this cold front passes through, the initial one for Thursday. Pardon me. Into Friday, we have a disturbance. Another disturbance that will be making its way through. That's the one that may give us some more substantial rain activity as compared to the cold front Thursday. However, is this going to be a drought buster? No. Let's just face it at this point. We haven't had really any drought busting rain in quite some time, to be quite frank with you. We need it. We desperately need it. I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but things are starting to get worse again. Also, higher elevations of the Appalachians, could we run into some snow on the back end? Potentially, but I think the chances are fairly low in that department. Heading into Saturday and Sunday, you can see we have our clearing, we have our high pressure set in place, and that will keep our weather calm, our weather really, really calm for the upcoming week ahead, at least in terms of the preliminary runs from the GFS. Let's talk Euro. And again, these will be updated tomorrow when I do the forecast to be distributed and posted on Friday. But you can see here, there's our system moving through with the cold front, maybe some rain, but chances are relatively low. Friday, there's a disturbance that passes by with potential for more rain. And then looking at this, it's relatively clear heading into the work week ahead. Now, this is where it diverges a little bit in terms of precipitation chances in the upcoming work week. Again, it's a ways out, so we can't really say for sure. But at least as we know right now, we may have a better chance at rain Friday with an upper level disturbance that will be passing by as compared to a cold front that will be passing through on Thursday. Let's talk temperatures real quickly. And for that, I'm going to look at the anomaly. And this is a good way to predict how cold temperatures could potentially get behind fronts or ahead of fronts. And with all the major systems, this is a good way of determining how big of an impact an event will have on our temperatures in the aftermath. So you can see that warm sector that was in place before the week started, and this is going back. This is going back in time. So this was last Monday, and I'm actually going to zoom in so you can see this better. This was this past Monday. I'm going to bring you back to speed here. So I'll skip to about now. We're heading into a really warm sector. And there's tomorrow morning. Really warm. Heading into the afternoon, still fairly warm. And then the cold front starts to make its way through. And then, look at this. The cold air is going to take a while to really have its impact because of that upper level disturbance. So temperatures on Friday, at least initially, may not be kicking in. The cold may not be kicking in, but as we head into the afternoon on Friday, that cold will be kicking in as well. Saturday into Sunday, and it's a fairly noticeable area of just cold air that's going to be below our averages. However, with that said, again, it's not going to be a really, really substantial dip in terms of where we should be for this time of the year. And then that starts to try to pull away into early next week before another warm sector moves in. So, how does that correlate to our temperatures? Let's talk about that. Let's start with GFS, and we'll go thermodynamics. We'll do not 2M. Well, actually, let's talk 2M real quick. I want to talk about 2M. How does that relate to our 2M? So again, there's our warm sector, and then it's going to be cooler than average for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Heading into Monday as well before we start getting into some of the warm sector again for the work week ahead. And then let's just talk about actual temperatures here, because I know I'm using a lot of vocab and a lot of jargon. But let's do shaded, and we'll go back. So let's do this is Friday morning. In the afternoon, temperatures will be very stubborn to move, probably in the 40s, and then potentially below freezing out on our highest elevations out west for Saturday morning. Afternoon wise, 50s. So again, and I believe our average is somewhere around, I want to say 63, 64. I gotta make sure I got that right. Hang on. Let's do normals means extremes. October, and November. And yeah, I was actually overselling it by a couple degrees. For this time of the year, we should be at 60 and 39 respectively. 60 and 39. And even heading into the weekend, our averages go down to 59 for the average high. And it's only going downhill as we head into December as well. But you can clearly see here, if I highlight these, and I'll do the days in question. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, our averages should be right around 60 degrees, give or take. And again, we'll be somewhere around 5, maybe 10 degrees below in some locations, but that's an extreme. I think the general range would be 4 to 7 degrees below where we should be in terms of average highs. I mean, Saturday, we only get to about 53, 54. Sunday, we only get to about 50. Some places may not even reach 50 out west. And then that cold air for Monday morning, below freezing in a lot of locations north and west of I-95. And we barely get to 50, if that. So the gap, again, it's noticeable, but it's not too drastic in terms of where we should be and where we're going to actually be. I'm just looking at a lot of these here, so forgive me for doing all of that. Well, I'm on the fly because it's a lot of information to process, and to be quite frank, I'm looking at some of this for the first time with you. So there you go. We're learning together. What else do I want to discuss here? Real quickly. Let's talk rainfall here, and then we'll talk deficits because it is just ridiculous. Let's do precip moisture. We'll do total accumulated precip. I mean, this is the forecast in terms of what totals we could have. And this is, by the way, I'm just going to push this back a little bit. Forgive me. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, through Monday, we're talking what? 100th? A quarter of an inch? Potentially in some spots. It's not gonna be drought busters. And we have had problems with rainfall all year. Let's talk about climate real quick because I think that is important. Previous bulletins. I actually talk about AFD on my own when I do this for my forecast for tomorrow. But let's talk about where are you? There you go. This was from yesterday, by the way. 73.48. Well above average, obviously. But looking at this, as of yesterday, and we'll get a new update here in about an hour with the new totals and how it relates to where we should be. 32.30 is the actual. We should be at 38.94. We're approaching 7 inches below where we should be for the year. And this time last year, we were about an inch above where we should be. It has been a struggle all year long to keep up with rainfall. And it's not just us. It is statewide. It is very much a statewide issue. For example, let's talk about Hagerstown. They're approaching 10 inches below where they should be. They'll be at 10 inches below where they should be with the upcoming update at 5 o'clock. No, around 5 o'clock, 5:30. It will be below 10. It will be over 10 inches below where they should be for the year. Naval Academy, I think they're approaching a foot. Well, excuse me, they're over a foot. They're at 1306 below where they should be. It has been abysmal in terms of rainfall all year long. Also, let me see if I can get Salisbury as well. There's Salisbury. Salisbury's going to run 11 inches below where they should be in the next climate report for the day later this evening. So it is an issue. It is very much an issue. And I'm just going to use a tool. Granted, it uses a little bit of raw data, but still, it gets you'll get the idea of where I'm heading with this. Let's talk about past observed weather. Why are you doing this to me? There you go. Now data. Let's do almanac for let's do I think we did Hagerstown, so we're gonna do Frederick. Frederick, where are you? See Fredericksburg, but not Frederick. You hiding from me? It's hiding from me. It's hiding from me. By the way, anybody who's watching, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe. I'm looking at all the MD locations. Yeah, it's hiding for me. No doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about it. But let's do another location then, since it wants to hide from us. Let's do Oakland. Do the daily almanac. We'll hit that rainfall deficit. So 3712 observed, 4405. 05. We are put a 6.93 below where we should be in Oakland for the year. Patuxent River. Let's do the Patuxent base. 2619, 3964. That would be 1343 below where we should be. 1343. That's a big deficit there. Let's do one more. If I can find a good location to use that I know is still in service, because there are some things. By the way, the Maryland Mesonet has just been activated for some locations, and it's working on others. Let me just search this up real quick for you. The Maryland Mesonet's up, and that is big news, by the way, because it is going to be significant for providing information, up to the minute information on weather conditions, especially in places that are a little underserved when it comes to ASOS stations and getting information out. But there at least is some coverage in much needed locations. I mean, we have one in Queen Anne's County, one in Dorchester County, or should I say Somerset County, forgive me. And there are not ASOS locations in Somerset County or Caroline County. So that is very much needed. There used to be one in Ridgely. That one is gone. And we need stations across the state. So this would be very much keen for that. Charles County, another one that's getting a station as well. And that is very much needed because, man, these underserved counties, there's one up in Howard County. It is critical to have these. And the one in Howard that was just put up, by the way, it's an underserved county in terms of ASOS stations as well. I believe it's the one in Clarksville. And they're going to have all sorts of stations. They have one in Berlin at Decatur Middle. They have one down at UMass. One down near UMass. This is going to be in Wycomico County. I know they're going to have one in UMass in Princess Anne. There's going to be one at College Park. One in Queen Anne's County near Y Mills. One in Chestertown. That's going to be good for them as well. There's going to be one in Cambridge. One in Altamont. One in Westminster. Ridgely, I already mentioned. They already had the ASOS down, so they're getting one at the elementary school in Ridgely. I have one at the Montebello water plant in the city. I have one at TU, and I have one at the Glendenning the Glendenning Recreation Complex. So that will be good for them. But anyways, back to what I was saying, because forgive me, I was going on a little bit of a tangent, but we do need those stations. Let's do Wakefield. AKQ. And this should do this. Sauce by Y Comico, Daily Almanac, hit that. So we already did Salisbury. I don't know if they have Ocean City. Do they have Ocean City? I see Salisbury area. Whether they have one for Ocean City, I don't think they do. Which is, it is what it is. But anyways, you get my point in what I'm trying to say. We need rainfall, and it has been bad all year. And Drought Monitor has not looked a whole lot better. In fact, it's gotten worse, and I think it will continue to get worse. Compared to the Drought Monitor from last week, the previous Drought Monitor, that was almost 2 weeks ago. We'll get a new update tomorrow, but it has grown in size in real estate in our southern communities and along the Mason-Dixon and along the Potomac River in Montgomery. So the rainfall situation is starting to get a little bit more dire once again, and I'm afraid if we keep going on this trend, we'll see those oranges pop right back up. And remember, that was an issue for a lot of us heading into the metro, even for a good chunk of the early half of the year, of the first half of the year. That was an issue for us. Moderate and severe were an issue across West Central Maryland, stretching into the metro. We made progress throughout the summer. We had a surplus of rain. However, with that said, we haven't had a good fall so far. I believe we should be averaging about 3 to 4 inches for the I gotta check real quick, but let's do this real quick. Number 1, climate, and we're gonna do WI. Normals means extremes, and I'm gonna scroll down to November. Actually, October for that matter. We should be averaging almost 4 inches of rain. We only had a quarter of that. It was an abysmal month. Now, was it May? No. May was absolutely terrible. For the month of May, let me just show you this real quickly, just to give you comparison to how bad May was. We should have had 3.85, and I believe we had 55 hundredths. We should be averaging similar rainfall compared to October, and we had a half an inch less, if not more, which is insane. But so far, it has been pretty abysmal in terms of rainfall for the fall. And if we continue on this track here, and let me remind you again, if I can find the document that has this all, and give me a second just to get this for you. Local data records, monthly precipitation at BWI, and we'll load this up real quick. Right now for the year, we're at can't remember. Okay, there we are. 3230. We are at 3230. If the year was to end right now, 3230, that would be the least amount of rainfall that we have seen here in the city in a pretty long time. You would have to go back to before the turn of the century. I mean, look at this. That would be the least since 91. Think about that. We're talking 32 years. We're talking 3 decades. That is ridiculous. Now, do I think we're going to end at 32? No. Could this at least be the least amount of rainfall that we have had in, let's say, 10, 15 years, that is a possibility. I mean, do we get to 34.97 in 07? I think we can, but even then, not to stretch. Do we get to, let's say, 37.42 in 2012? That becomes a question. That's an even tougher question to ask because we haven't had much rain. We've been struggling. Now, granted, there have been months where we've had some excessive rainfall, but it's been hard to find those, and it's inconsistent. So even 37.42, I don't know if we get there. I really don't. It's just been bad. And if we continue on this track, we could be talking the least amount of rainfall that we have seen here in the city in at least 10, 15 years, and potentially in the last 25 if we keep going, 25 to 30 if we keep going at this trajectory. It's not good. It has not been good. And time's ticking. We're running out. And these are, I don't want to say the least productive in terms of rainfall or precipitation total, but they're not the highest either in terms of the months in production. I mean, we're past July, August, and September. We're past March. Not much has come out of these. Not much has come out at least March. Now, July was okay. August was okay as well. But, man, September, but October was bad. November so far has not been off to a good start in terms of rainfall, and we need it. We very much need it so. But with that said, I'm going to end the stream here so I can kind of get the stuff ready for tomorrow for the forecast, and also B, kind of get some rest because I was out today and I gotta be out for classes tomorrow, so kind of want to rest and prepare myself for that. Got haircuts and got my haircut and all that stuff today. Other things of business I took care of. But with that said, please be safe. Keep an eye out for the forecast on Friday. Should be dropping around its usual time, 12 noon Eastern Standard. But with that said, I'm Jay Mitchell. I hope you have a great afternoon. Be safe, and have a good weekend. We don't talk, at least in terms of a live conversation until then, and we likely won't. But with that said, take care, y'all, and we'll have another live unless we have a situation pop up in terms of we need to go on live for a more like a random discussion or like an urgent situation in terms of our weather. If we don't have any of that, we'll talk again live next Wednesday. But with that said, I'm Jay Mitchell from 4NOWX. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday afternoon.